It's gonna be kind of hard for me to come now. You gotta understand, Dad. You know, people want my autograph. He says, Daddy, what are you out of your mind? What with you? Come to Brooklyn. I don't want to know nothing, you know. I said, Dad, it's gonna be. Just come to Brooklyn. Don't worry about it. You gotta come to see me. Okay. So I go to Brooklyn. I go on a Wednesday night. I go at night so nobody will see me. But I take the biggest limo I can find. Go in, I see my father. It was good. We spent the night together. The next day, my friend Joey Mook comes over. Joey Mook, one of the kids I grew up with, you know, he comes over, hanging out. He says to me, you know what we should do? He says, we should paint your father's apartment. I said, Joe, that's a great idea. I said, where are we going to get the paint? He said, oh, we'll walk right down Fulton Street, under the L. There's a Pittsburgh paint store. You know that. I said, Joey. Come on. I can't walk down Fulton Street. Are you crazy? These people go crazy. I can't go. Come on, man. Listen to me. He said, stop the bull duty. Let's go. Come on, let's go get the paint. I said, all right. So I gird myself. I walk out into this beautiful, most beautiful spring day you've ever seen in Brooklyn. Right? And on Fulton Street, it's a big thoroughfare, very good businesses and kids. It's like there's kids playing handball, riding bicycles, women breastfeeding babies. It's bedlam. Bedlam, right? Bedlam. People all over the place. Walk out, nobody. No, wait, you don't understand. People are coming up to Joe, saying hello to me, and not seeing me. And I'm like, what is this, the Twilight Zone? I get to the point where I'm doing this to people. You know, trying to like catch their eye. So it's driving me crazy. I go to say something to Joe, and I don't know. We walk. People all over the place. You know, beautiful day. What the hell's going on? We walk into the Pittsburgh paint store. We get the paint. They shake the paint. We get on the line. There's a line. We get on the line. In front of me is two kids, 12, 13 years old. These are my kids. This is my fan base. Forget it. They don't know who I am. They were buying airplane glue, but that's another story. So anyway, I look at the kid. Standing there. I'm looking at him. And I swear, this kid's either the best actor in the world, or he don't recognize me. He looks at me and not an ounce of recognition. He looked at me. I flip out. I can't take it. And I find myself doing something that I never do, and I hate when I hear people do this. But I say to the kid, hey, don't you know who I am? Imagine. The kid says, yeah, I know who you are, but your father told us not to bother you. True story. Now, if you want to think of a word that elicits, what would that word be? What do you think? Huh?
Humility.
Humility, yeah. Well, humility, yeah.
Precious. That's precious.
Precious.
Disappointed.
No, not at all.
A little.
No. Hey, by the way, I got my comeuppance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happened was, then, bets were on. He wants to be here. Nobody knows he's here.
Oh, yeah.
I swear to God, it was like they had a close. I came to the window like a Vita. People were outside screaming my name. Tony, you know, the cops had to come to get us out of the building. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was really sick. I mean, I wasn't far off, but my father got me good. But anyway, any other questions? Anything else? Because I go all day, you know. Yes?
Well, you said you just wrote a book, so what was the last book that you read that you liked?
I read The Sense of an Ending by Julian Barnes.
I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, well, it won the Man Book Prize. And I really like him. He wrote a book called, this is a great book. This book that he wrote is bad. This book is perplexing. This is the kind of book that you get to the end and you go, I gotta read this again. What the heck? It's a sliver of a book. But it's brilliant. The guy was brilliant. He wrote a book, though, called Nothing to Be Frightened of. It's sort of an agnostic's view of the afterlife. which is kind of nonsense, but it's really brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant. It gives you some insight into things. I really like this guy. I look for his stuff all the time, Julian Barnes. And I just read, because I'm working on promoting my book now, I just read Erin Gruhl's book. She's the teacher who wrote Freedom Writers. She's a wonderful woman. She's just incredible. But she wrote this book, Freedom Writers, so I've been working my way through that. It's an amazing story that she accomplished. She's quite a teacher. She really is. And she gave me a bird in my book, so that, you know, just total disclosure, you know. Yes.
Are you thinking about doing any TV shows, cooking TV shows? I saw you were on your son.
No, I'm working on a couple of big projects. I am working on a show for Broadway. Maybe some of you saw the movie. Did you see the movie Honeymoon in Vegas? For those of you who didn't see the movie, it starred Nick Cage and Jessica Parker, and Jimmy Caan, which is the part I play, and Jason Robert Brown, one of the best composers we have in America, has written a score for this. I feel like I'm sitting on Guys and Dolls. That's why have you seen the show Smash? You know that show about Broadway? Well, yesterday I was at a casting session all day, and I felt like I was in Smash. It was like, but anyway, it's slated to go to Toronto in December, and then to come to Broadway in the spring. It's fabulous. It's really terrific. So I'm working on that, and then I'm working on, you know, ABC continuously wants me to do Dancing with the Stars. And I want you to know that when I look at Dancing with the Stars, the first thought that comes to my mind is there, but for the grace of God. Yeah. No, it's a freak show. I'm sorry. I can't take it. So I can't be part of it. But now they got to the point where they said, well, we'll do a show. If you do that, we'll do a show. We'll develop a show. And I said, why don't you develop a show, and then maybe I'll think about that, you know? And so that's what's happening now. So there's this talk of a show, and so, you know, I'm busy, but I'm busy with life right now. You know, I just moved back to New York. I was living in California for almost 35 years, and in Malibu, by the way, yeah. And it's sorted, but I also live in town. But you know, LA is a one company town. There's one business. It's all about that. And it can drive you crazy unless you're really, you know, doing well. And also, there's somehow LA makes you feel older. Is that? I don't know how this, you know. And yeah. Well, when you're young, it's the best place in the world. It really is. But as you do get older, you really feel older there, you know. And I'm old enough. I don't need to feel any older. So it's really been like a rebirth to be here. I'll show you how cool it is. There it is, right?
That's your big limo now.
That's my big limo now. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, no. So, but it's really great to be back here. You know, the brush against people, just the thing, the way it forces you in, and then plus, I live an unbelievable life. I really do. It's really crazy. You know, I got a nice apartment. Not great, but nice apartment. People invite me to parties and movies. I go to these movie premieres. Send a car for me. I go. Hello. Take a picture. And then I come home. It's so great. You know, I'm just enjoying New York. I get to go to things. It's you know, the two times you want to be a celebrity. A restaurant and a hospital. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Anything else? Anybody else? Sir?
A friend of mine, I told him that he would come this week at the school, and someone I actually work with in like music, and he told me to ask you something about letters to Tupac.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what.
No, it's true. It is true. Yeah, what happened was I like to write notes to people. See, one of the other things about being Tony Danza is you write a note, they get you back. No matter what you write, you go to Clayton's library, he's got a note there for me. There's a note. It's on display. My friend says, hey, I went to the library, your note's on display. You get stationery with your name on the top of it, and I bet you, by the way, for the most part, you would find, I did this with my kids, that we wrote to people as a class, and they wrote back to us. You know, Hillary Clinton wrote back to us, Colin Powell wrote back to us. You know, so we tried to write to Mockingbird,
Harper Lee.
Harper Lee. We tried to write to Harper Lee. We wrote to Harper Lee, but we don't know.
He's still writing back.
Yeah, no, she. But what I did was with Tupac, I saw he was in jail. He had gotten shot 5 times. He had 5 bullet holes in him. He had 5 bullet holes around the tattoo that said Thug's Life. I mean, it was like, are you kidding? This is crazy. So it says Thug's Life across his skull. He's got 5 bullet holes in him. He's in jail for a sexual assault with his friends to a makeup artist that was on a shoot. And this is before, you know, obviously, we know what happens to him. But anyway, so I write him a note to write to Tupac. You know what happened? I heard that song, Dear Mama. And here he is talking about what he put his mother through. I was like, wait a minute, this guy's, you know, Dear Tupac. You know, by the way, I didn't know what to write. Dear Pac. So I wrote Dear Tupac. You don't know me, but I'm a fan of your music. I said I heard your song, and I see the situation you find yourself in, and I was just wondering. I said, I know you know the business you're in. You can't be a goody two-shoe, but maybe there's a better way to live, and maybe be an inspiration to all the kids that look up to you. Because not only was he a good musician, he was a good actor, really good actor. He writes me back. I read this whole thing about, you know, turning your life around. He writes me back, glad you understand me.
Just straight glad you understand.
Just glad you know, like that. I mean, he wrote me back, but basically it was, glad you understand where I'm coming from. No. I read it but I tried to make you understand. You know, I did what it was. I read it back. He writes me back. I get it, man. Don't think I don't get it. He goes, and we started being pen pals. And I got like a bunch of letters from him. He got a bunch of letters from me. And then when he did his movie, which was the weirdest thing, he did Resurrection. He says in the movie, he goes, you know all the people that wrote me? Tony Danza wrote me. So one night I'm at a movie premiere. Here's the you know, the end of the story, because he dies right after this. I'm at a movie premiere in Hollywood with my kids. My daughters, Elizabeth, and my wife, and it was like, all of a sudden, the lights went out. It was like, because this guy was so big, this bodyguard, he sort of like blocked the light. I looked at it, was this giant guy, and he said, hey, Tupac wants a meeting. I was just glad they didn't carry me. So I went over, and I hung out with him a little bit, and then I saw him again. I saw him one other time. That was it. You know, hey, Tony, you know, it was like, then it became, hey, Tony, hey, Pac, you know, it's really strange, you know. By the way, that's what's weird about my life. It's like, I was with a friend of mine the other night. This is God's honest truth. I was with a friend of mine the other night. This guy grew up with me, Bobby Guvinelli, he's my best friend. We went to college together. And he said to me the other night, he said, we were talking about this thing. There was a big night of entertainment at Radio City Music Hall. Ella Fitzgerald. You guys don't know, but it's one of the greatest of all time. Ella Fitzgerald was there, and Frank Sinatra was going to be there. So we walked into Radio City Music Hall. It was empty. Ella Fitzgerald was sitting there, and he asked, don't you bother her? Don't you get it? Because my friend would be, we went into a restaurant and we saw Woody Allen. He screamed out, hey, it's Woody Allen. I'm like, needless to say, I'd never worked for the man. But anyway, so I said, so we walked by and Ella Fitzgerald goes, hey Tony, I watch you every night at 6 o'clock. It's like, holy crap. So then we were there though to see Frank Sinatra. Sinatra was going to rehearse. All right, awesome, right? Let me start. Oh wait a minute, this is my friend says to me the other day. He says, you remember, he says, we met Michael Jackson that night, right? I go, what? You remember Michael Jackson came up to us before we saw Sinatra? I swear to God, I don't even remember seeing about Michael Jackson that night. I swear to God, I have no recollection. I remember seeing Sinatra. I remember Ella. He said, Michael Jackson. But hey, Tony, I like your show. You know? Yeah. So I've been really lucky about being, and not stupid, but also lucky about being around when all these people are around. You know. I introduced. You know, my mother used to say. My mother used to say when I got on TV, she said, "Big shot." When you introduce me to Sinatra, then you're a star. And so I got Sinatra to do Who's the Boss. He did my show. And when he did my show, I flew my mother out. And he met my mother, he gave her his hug, his handkerchief. It was like, oh my God. If my mother was dead, she'd die again. I tell one other story about my mother. My mother was great. My mother's 4'11". I miss her so much. She died young too, she died 62. Anyway, she loved Dean Martin. I love Dean Martin. Okay. She had she had this one album And she's been playing all the time. And like, we all really started to sound like